the most mysterious family, worth $126 billion. Everyone knows their name, but most people don't realize it. That's understandable. With a name like Mars, Mars Inc. makes a lot more than Mars bars, of course. Their portfolio includes Snickers, Milky Way, Twix, M&M's, and more. They also make Whiskas, Pedigree, and Royal Canin. Wrigley's chewing gum, also Mars. Orbit, Skittles, Three Musketeers, Hubba Bubba. Yes, all these brands are owned by Mars Inc. And Mars Inc. is owned by the Mars family. It's the third richest family in America. Their combined wealth is around $126 billion. But can you name even one member? The family's founder was Frank Mars. He learned to hand-dip chocolates at a young age. In 1911, he began selling candy from his kitchen. Frank and his wife Ethel grew rich in the 1920s. They owned a $20,000 Duesenbergtown car. Their Tennessee vacation home was the Milky Way farm. Frank and Ethel opened it to the public for fundraisers and events. Ethel's horse won the Kentucky Derby in 1940. Frank's son, Forrest Sr., joined the company in 1929. They invented the first chocolate nougat. This set the foundation for Milky Way and Snickers bars. Then Forrest Sr. fell out with his father. In 1932, he was given the recipe for the Milky Way to start his own business. Forrest moved to England and prospered. In 1934, he bought a British dog food firm, Chappell Brothers. Today, Mars Inc. runs the biggest private pet clinic chains. If you're American, you know them as Banfield, NVCA. If you're European, you call them Anacura. Both veterinary chains are operated by Mars, but none of this explains the secrecy. It actually dates back to a curious incident. In the early 1960s, Forrest Sr. patented Uncle Ben's rice, but U.S. military chiefs tried to overturn the patent to supply troops. Around this time, in 1964, Forrest Sr. moved back to the U.S. Decades later, he merged his company with his father's. Mars Inc. has remained secretive ever since. A 1993 article in Washington Post magazine was a sensation. The reporter had been allowed to see the M's being applied to the M&M's.
No outsider has ever before been invited to observe it.
In 1999, Forrest Mars Sr. died. The company did not acknowledge it in any way. They wouldn't even confirm or deny if he'd worked for them. Forrest Sr.'s children inherited the company. Their names are Jacqueline, John, and Forrest Jr. Mars. Jacqueline and John co-own but don't actively manage Mars Inc. They have the biggest share of the fortune, with $24 billion each. Forrest Jr.'s 4 daughters have $6 billion each. His family alone is worth $72 billion. But Jacqueline is the only Mars with a lavish lifestyle. She listed her estate in New Jersey for $2 million. She also has a place called Stonehall Farm in Virginia. She maintains her mother's Watergate penthouse. Jacqueline's son, Stephen Badger, was the chairman of Mars Inc. He wanted the company to open up. In 2018, Badger told reporters,
"For 99% of our history, we've chosen not to be in the public eye. We've really wanted our brands to engage consumers, and yet times have changed."
But they haven't really. The current Mars Inc. CEO is a Danish businessman named Paul Virauk. He's the only one who ever speaks to the media. John Mars, the chairman, remains a mystery. All we know is that he's worth $46.4 billion. Oh yes, and Queen Elizabeth II knighted him in 2015.